Hey there. So 2 o'clock in the morning, here I am. I haven't, I haven't really tried to get to sleep, but then again, it's Friday night, so, what can you do? And I did sleep in until like 12 o'clock today, so. But anyway, I am feeling really like, pissed off because I've just been looking at the people section, most viewed people section of YouTube, and I'm so infuriated to see that maybe 70% of the videos are young teenage girls, or men posting videos of young teenage girls dancing around their room in underwear, or women with big enhanced breasts like gyrating around on the stage, or for everyone to look at their bodies. And I don't know if I'm the only one out there that, like, when I see this kind of thing, I feel like I can see through all that bull crap. When I go into a magazine shop, or, and I see all these magazine covers of like these airbrushed models, basically two-dimensional Barbie dolls for adults, because that's what they are. They're purely a creation. They're not even even the like famous people. They don't look like what they really look like in real life. Um, and it really gets to me. It shouldn't. It shouldn't annoy me as much as it does, because I should just think, oh, forget about it. But then I think about all the young men and women out there, like, really young, even, kids, little kids, that are constantly being bombarded with this message, like, you are only worth what you look like. It doesn't really matter what you as a person are, what you can give the world. Your intellect, your creativity, your imagination, individuality. It's just turning people into these automatons, like falling off a style production line, just the same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Don't be a nonconformist, or else you'll be a weirdo. 10 steps to a better body. It breeds like this sense of sort of like not feeling good enough, not ever, being good enough. And that just ends up making a lot of unhappy men and women out there. I'm not saying this is something that is particular to women, because I've seen Men's Health magazine and, all the rest of it, and all the men's like cologne adverts with like buff men. And I mean, I even saw this magazine advert once, which made, I'm sorry, I had to laugh because I thought it was so ridiculous. It was like a picture of a man there, just his face, like off his face, quite a good-looking, rugged man in his maybe early 40s, with tan skin, and like he was standing there, and the caption underneath was, "You think you look good." And then the next side of the page was like it had zoomed up on his smile lines, and it said, "But does she?" And then it was like an advert for anti-wrinkle cream. And I was thinking, my God, like that's so ridiculous. To me, when I look at, like, really old people like my grandparents, and I see like all the lines that they've got from smiling through their lives, and all the kind of expression lines in their face. That's what they are. They're expression lines. They print on your face. They're like a map of your emotional life, I guess. That's the way I see it. Like, really happy people, they get those creases by their eyes, and like creases around their mouth, and it makes them look like they've really lived, that they've had a happy life, and a beautiful life. And people that always frown and have ugly expressions, that are mad people, that prints itself on their face too. And they say that you get the face you deserve by the time you have old age, and I believe that's true. And this kind of ridiculous worship of celebrity and of, you know, this quest for eternal youth. It's bullshit. Because, you know, it's basically people trying to kid themselves that they can live forever. But you can't, you know. The pursuit of happiness is so much more important than the pursuit of youth. You know, I'd much rather die an old crone surrounded by people that love me because I've been a good person and I've lived a good life than to be lonely and unhappy and desperate and dying because I'm old anyway, because it's going to happen. You are going to be old, you know. It, yeah, I don't know. I just wish that, I wish that I could make people see that all these stupid people that are so, you know, I've got friends of mine that are, you know, in their early 20s saying, oh, no one's going to love me, look at, like, you know, I've got too many moles, you know, my body, it's so disgusting, blah blah blah. And I just feel like screaming in their face saying, you are beautiful because you are who you are, you know. Beauty is not this, you know. Beauty is in here and in here, you know, and in your soul and in your actions and your deeds. It's not a value judgment that we can place upon flesh and bones, you know, because that's all it is. Tits are just sacks of flesh. Your butt is just a sack of fat to pad you so that when you fall over, it's like you're padding, you know. Like, how ridiculous to, like, feel unhappy for your whole life because you don't have bigger sacks of fat, bigger mammary glands, you know, or like to make your biggest, most depressing thing in your life the fact that you have like a bump on your nose. You know, when there's people out there in Africa who don't have a house, that don't, you know, don't have fresh running water, that can't feed their families, that are watching their children die of starvation every day in front of them, you know, no sanitation, no medicine, people dying of AIDS, you know, people dying of cancer all over the world, people with real adversity in their lives, you know. And then I think, why would anyone want to have an unnecessary operation? Unnecessary, something that could kill you. You'll go and do something that could potentially kill you, that has no medical effect, that, you know, you will not. People that do that don't feel happy. That's why they go back for more and more. It doesn't fix the problem in their heart, in their mind. It only is like a temporary fix, because they're always going to see the imperfection. They're never going to, it's never going to be enough. You know, please, women, men out there, try to look below the surface. Beauty is, you know, is physical beauty is only skin deep, you know. I don't know. Anyway, my rant is over, and maybe someone out there will have, like, listened to this and it will make them realise that, you know, there's so much more to life. You know, you can't take this flesh and body with you when you go into the next life, if that's what you believe. You take your experiences in this life and your relationships with other people and the deeds that you have done. You know, why not put as much energy, or why not take the energy away from the worry and the pain and the hurt of, you know, unnecessary worry about what you look like, and put that energy into doing something good for the world, something that will make people happy, that will make you happy. You know, because the problem is not what's here, the problem is a pain inside the heart, and you can't solve that by making yourself look better. You know, you have to make yourself feel better. Yeah. Anyway, bye.